Hello fellow Walking Dead fans, and this is my review for Season 10, Episode 22, titled Here's Negan. And Season 10 has finally ended. Nearly a year ago, the finale was supposed to come out, but it got delayed and cancelled because of COVID. So AMC decided to greenlit 6 additional episodes to add on to Season 10, now known as Season 10 Part C. And these 6 additional episodes have been on the last 6 weeks, and we have watched them. And you know what? These are more of character development episodes. Filler. Story arcs, get more of a background, more of an origin for these characters that I think will really benefit the show going into the final season, which is Season 11. Now, the 6 additional episodes have been very good, but of course they've been very distant, and the action hasn't been there, or the usual Walking Dead mojo hasn't been there, because of course they were learning about COVID, on-set procedures, conditions, stuff like that. So the team, the crew, the cast were putting themselves at risk to give us entertainment, and I thank them so much. But you could definitely see in these 6 additional episodes that they had to stay clear of people, certain distance and stuff like that. But I don't think it ruined the episodes. I will go as far as to say that 2 of these 6 episodes will go down as the greatest episodes, one of the greatest episodes in the Walking Dead history. One being the Robert Patrick cameo episode with Father Gabriel and Aaron, absolutely brilliant, and the other, Here's Negan. Now, Negan's an interesting character because Negan was introduced at the end of Season 6 into Season 7, killing fan favourites Glenn and Abraham. And ever since, he's gone on a very interesting arc. And Negan is definitely one of my favourite characters, right up there with Daryl. My number one will always be Rick Grimes, but he's not on the show right now, so he doesn't really count. But ever since Andrew Lincoln left as Rick, Negan and Daryl have been the 2 big guys on the Walking Dead show that has attracted many viewers. But Negan's arc has been interesting because from Savior on a journey now to get redemption, he has saved Judith. He's become somewhat of kind of friends with Daryl and Carol because he was the one who helped them defeat the Whisperers. But of course now Maggie's back and tensions are back because Negan killed Glenn, Maggie's husband, and of course they had a kid together that Glenn never got to meet, and of course the kid never got to meet his father, but now he's living in the same community with the person who killed Glenn, which is Negan. Now, this episode was an origin story for Negan. Here's Negan, adapted from the comic books that was done pretty recently. Really good comic book. So this was an episode that many fans were looking forward to, and many predicted that this would be the best episode of the 6 additional episodes. And guess what? It was. But not only that, it's probably one of the best of Season 10 and probably one of the best of the entire series. So that's saying a lot. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan did an amazing job. Here we get to see Negan before the apocalypse, just as the outbreak happens, a little bit after, and of course now in the Walking Dead universe that we get to see him in. So the plot for this episode is Carl takes Negan on a journey, hoping to minimize the increasing tension. Negan reflects on the events that led him to this point and comes to a conclusion about his future. So this was a story for Negan to look back on his past and who he is, because Carol brings him out and says it's the council have banished you from the community, but actually Carol is trying to save Negan's life because she doesn't want that on her conscience anymore. She doesn't want to be guilty anymore, so she wants to live a new life of freedom, Carol does. And we got to see that last week in Diverge. She's going through a lot of stuff, but she doesn't want Negan to be killed by Maggie, which is probably going to happen if Negan stays around in the community. Maggie wants to kill Negan, so that's going into Season 11. We're definitely going to see that arc. I don't know if the 2 of them are going to be at throats with each other, or if Negan will ever get redemption with Maggie. We'll have to wait and see how that progresses. But the way this episode ended got me so pumped for Season 11, and I can't wait to see it. But Negan's left in this house all alone, and all he has is his thoughts. I think his old jacket is there as well, and he starts to reflect on his past, and then we get to see Negan through a number of flashbacks, as I said, before the apocalypse, just as the outbreak happens, a little bit after, and then of course now his interaction with Carol and Daryl and Maggie and stuff like that. So yeah, look, we all knew that Negan, his wife was Lucille, and the baseball bat they always had was called Lucille, so named after her. But we get to see a very interesting backstory to Negan. There was also an interesting part of the episode I forgot to mention, was what Negan wanted his bat back, the Lucille, because for a while he didn't know where it was. It was left at kind of the area where Rick defeated him, where he cut his throat, because Michonne had told him that before. We got kind of a flashback of Negan getting his throat slit by Rick, and also Michonne visiting him in his prison cell. So that was cool to see, fan favorite characters come back, even though it was a flashback. It just shows you how much the show would be different if they were still around, and how much you actually miss those characters. But I thought it was great. And then Negan goes to the same location with the broken mirror. The broken mirror is still there after all these years, the one Rick used to slice his throat, and he searches and he digs for Lucille amongst the dirt and the grass in this field, and eventually finds Lucille and then is able to take out a walker, but Lucille breaks. So I don't know if Negan will ever get a bat again in The Walking Dead. It's not that hard, just go get a bat somewhere else, but maybe he'll get a new weapon for himself. But yeah, Lucille, the original Lucille, is finally gone. He burns it by the end of the episode in the fire, and he tells Lucille that, look, I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight your fight for you. So I thought that was beautiful from Negan. And of course, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's acting there was fascinating as well. But it was still cool to see Andrew Lincoln back and Denai Guerrero back, even though it was only flashback scenes. But still cool. And I wish they were still in the show. But maybe the movies. Let's hope for the movies to come pretty quick. But yeah, that was an interesting scene. I loved it so much. And I love that broken glass there as well, because so much symbolism with that broken glass. The first time we got to see it. The broken glass theory as well. Different stuff like that Rick has mentioned in the past. So that's a big place in the Walking Dead history amongst the TV show. So yeah, that was a pretty cool scene. And his real life wife, Hilary Burton Morgan, is playing his wife Lucille in the show. So I thought their chemistry was absolutely brilliant. I thought their connection worked so well because, of course, they're real life couple. So it definitely worked. And Hilary Burton Morgan gives a very emotional performance as Lucille. She's dying of cancer, and at times it was very hard to look at, but I love the connection between the two of them. The two of them had a lot of fun with each other in the scene, trying on different wigs, reading, picking out James Bond movies. I thought their connection was very real, and it was very emotional. But something happens in the episode where, of course, she has cancer, and Negan is trying to give her chemotherapy by himself. So he has no doctors, of course, no medicine, nothing like that, because the world has gone to shit. The apocalypse has started. So Negan needs to get supplies, and he has enough to keep her going, chemotherapy to keep her going, keep her alive for a little bit longer, maybe hopefully to beat this cancer that she has. But things go pretty bad because Negan's supply runs out, or actually gets ruined. It gets melted, and he leaves in the freezer too long, so he has to go out on the road to find medicine, find a pharmacist or somebody out there, a doctor that's going to help. But he comes across this RV of a father and a daughter who are going around helping people with supplies, medicine, stuff like that. And his idea is to go up with a gun that's not loaded and threaten the man and his daughter and look for supplies. But of course, it doesn't go all to plan, and Negan is knocked out by actually a savior, because I've seen the last few seasons. This is where she originated from as well, so that's how they met. But yeah, she knocked Negan out with, ironically enough, a baseball bat. But as Negan is tied up and he's being questioned by this doctor, Negan spills the beans. My wife is sick, she has cancer, our supply ran out. And the doctor helps him, gives him what he wants, and sets him on his way. So I thought that was very good from the doctor, even though Negan tried to threaten to kill him. But the daughter, gives Negan the baseball bat to protect themselves, because they warn him that there's gangs on the roads at night, so they own the road. So that's how Negan got his baseball bat, but that's not the origin of Lucille yet. So I guess, because the episode flashes back and flashes forward to numerous events that happened for Negan to become Negan. So that was interesting, and it could have been messy. It could have not worked out. You could have got confused or just got sick of the flashbacks, but it actually worked really well. So, but also we get to see another story of this episode as well, is before the apocalypse. Negan is playing Xbox, which was pretty funny, and his wife Lucille is giving him a hard time about spending money, having no job, because he was a gym teacher, but he lost his job because he got into a bar fight. And we find out later on in the episode, at the end of the episode, that somebody was disrespecting Lucille. That's why he got into a bar fight and beat the shit out of the guy, and and got sued and lost his job and stuff like that. So he's lying around at home. But as Lucille is going to a doctor's appointment, Negan can't be around. He says he has to go to his probation officer and stuff like that, which is a lie. He's actually having an affair, and she gets cancer, and she knows that he's having an affair, but there's a cool scene where she's in her house waiting to tell Negan that she has cancer, but she also has a gun, and she has two options: one, to either kill Negan because he's having an affair, or to tell him that I have cancer. And she decides to just tell him that she has cancer and doesn't acknowledge the gun or anything like that, or the affair. So she loved Negan, Negan loved her, but Negan was being a pretty shitty husband. But ever since he found out that she got cancer, he told the affair no more and gave Lucille all of his time. So that's the kind of transition there. We get to see them in the apocalypse being all together. But Negan tells Lucille, look, I have to go and get you medicine. And then Lucille tells Negan, I always knew that you had the affair. So that was a cool kind of aspect right there. And the reason she told Negan that she knew was because you don't have to make up for it anymore. You've already made up for it. And I think Lucille would have been happy enough to die in Negan's arms, with cancer, being sick, than Negan leaving her. But Negan decides to leave, and of course I told you about getting the supplies. But I think on the journey back to his house, to Lucille, to give her the medicine, he is captured by this gang, these bikers who own the road who the doctor warned him about. So he's questioned by the gang leader, where'd you get the medicine? You know, there has to be a supply somewhere. And Negan doesn't want to give up the doctor or his daughter or what they're doing because, the guy was good enough to give him the medicine. But Negan is running out of time because in that cooler that he has is the chemotherapy for Lucille. And that's going to melt. It's going to be no good if time goes on. So he finally spills the beans and tells the gang leader, look, this is where this person is. This is where the medicine is. And so they put Negan into a closet, lock the door, and they go, okay, we'll go check it out. If you're telling the truth, then we'll let you go. So obviously it was the right location. They come back, they let Negan out. And Negan is in a hurry to get back to Lucille. He gets on his bike, he has his medicine, but he sees the RV outside and the bikers are going through it and, giving the doctor and his daughter probably a hard time over the medicine and threatening them and probably going to kill them. But Negan goes off to his house, to his home, to Lucille, to give her the medicine that she needs to get better. But written on their door is, please don't leave me like this. And that was so heartbreaking. The minute we could see that as viewers, and as Negan, you knew that, yeah, she's dead. And Negan slowly walks in, and all you could hear is the roar from a walker. And Lucille is tied to the bed. She just never a wig on, so she's kind of bald from her cancer. And it kind of reminded me a bit of Alpha as well, because she was bald, and her and Negan kind of had a relationship together as well, and Negan had to kill Alpha. So there was kind of a cool parallel right there, because Negan's wife now, Lucille, is a walker, tied to the bed, and Negan can't kill her. He gets drunk at the end of the bed. It was hard to watch at times, but instead of Negan putting her out of her misery and killing Lucille, stopping her becoming a walker or still being a walker, he just burns the house down. So Negan leaves the burning house with Lucille as a walker in it. He takes up his baseball bat, he has his leather jacket on, and he goes to the bar where the bikers are at. And we get to see Negan killed for the very first time. He takes out all the bikers, I think there's around 4 or 5 of them, takes them all out. He saves the doctor and his daughter, but he's left with the one biker who was threatening him, and the one biker who's responsible for Lucille running out of medicine and dying, so Negan couldn't be with her. But Negan, in classic Negan fashion, he gives a speech, very much how he did to Rick and the group back at the end of season 6 at the start of season 7. He gives a speech about how he lost his job, and he got into a fight at a bar because a guy was being disrespectful to Lucille, changing or making noise while the jukebox was playing their favourite song, and then he proceeds to Lucille, this biker guy, and absolutely just takes him out. So look, this episode was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Some nice music in it as well, interesting music. Negan got to sing and play Xbox, so and get his first his human kill. So a pretty good episode. And then we cut to Negan, and he's walking back into Alexandria, and everyone's looking. Why is he here? You got Carol there, you got Maggie, and you got Daryl. And Maggie's looking at him, and Carol walks up to Negan and is like, "Why are you back here? Why are you doing this? I'll bring you food over there if you want it in your house." And Negan's like, "No, I think I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here in Alexandria. This is my home now." And then Negan and Maggie kind of have an exchange, and well, not by talking, but just looking at each other. And Negan smiles. So season 11 is going to be pretty interesting, and the look in Maggie's eyes were just, "I'm going to kill you," and Negan's like, "You can try," So I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait for season 11 to see how this progresses and see what's actually going to happen between these two. But look, solid episode, one of the best in Walking Dead history. I don't know who wrote this episode, but did a pretty good job. Come back, write more Walking Dead stuff, because yeah, it was pretty good. For a COVID episode where you can't really do that much, it was done pretty well. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan and his wife Hilary Burton Morgan deserve a lot of praise for their performances, because they were absolutely flawless and absolutely brilliant. I was listening to Talking Dead after, and Negan goes, he did 2 versions of that stare towards Maggie. One was a serious stare, the other was a big smile, so they kept the big smile. I think it was actually perfect. There was some Easter eggs as well to Night of the Living Dead, I think, and also towards Beta, because he used to be a country singer. His t-shirt popped up as well. I think Lucille was wearing one. So some cool Easter eggs in this episode. Awesome episode. And season 11 returns August 22nd. So we got a little while to wait, but not too long until the final season of The Walking Dead happens. 24 episodes I think it's going to be. So the biggest Walking Dead season yet. They're shooting right now. I think it's going to take them a year to finish shooting, but don't worry guys, we've got loads of Walking Dead content to come. We've got Fear the Walking Dead, which is coming back in the next few weeks. We also got World Beyond as well for season 2, and the Rick Grimes movie is going to start production. And then of course Carl And Daryl spin-off is also coming in Tales of the Walking Dead. So there's so much more Walking Dead content to come, even though season 11 is ending pretty soon. And it's pretty sad, but it doesn't feel like it's near yet. But I think season 11 is going to be huge because the writers, the cast, the crew, everyone knows it's the last season of the main show of The Walking Dead. So I think they're going to give absolutely everything. Every other year they give everything, but this year they're going to ramp it up and they're going to make this the greatest season of The Walking Dead history with some surprises. I bet I'm going to get more Easter eggs and hints towards Rick, maybe Michonne, and what the future holds for The Walking Dead universe. But I'm excited for this episode, guys. Here, Negan. What you think of it? Give a like, comment, subscribe, guys. Come follow me on all the social medias. That stuff, it's in the end credits. But guys, get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about Here's Negan. It's a brilliant episode. One of my favorite of the show ever. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is so good as Negan, and I can't wait for the last season. Would you like to see a Negan spin-off? I think a Negan spin-off would do pretty damn well going after season 11. So let's see how it all goes. But 10 seasons of The Walking Dead finished already. One more to go. Let's go. I'm excited. I'm interested. And it's my favorite show on television right now. It's been my favorite show for over a decade. I've watched every single episode. Every time it's aired. I've watched it with my brother. So this show means a lot to me as a person. And I want to thank the crew again for going through tough conditions to give us entertainment. COVID, not many people knew much about it in terms of sets and testing and stuff like that. So fair play to them to go back in that kind of environment and to give us entertainment. So I appreciate that, and thank you to the cast, the crew, AMC, everybody involved. But guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Fear the Walking Dead review has to come in the next week or so keep an eye out for that. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Okay guys, I'll catch you later, and goodbye.